Well, Ohad Hemo is the Arab Affairs correspondent for Israel's Channel 12 TV news network, and he joins us now. Thank you very much indeed for being with us, Ohad. And first of all, we credit you, but we should also credit the Syrian civilian who must have taken enormous risks to get this footage out. What do you think was his motivation in getting these images and this information out to the world?
Well, good evening, Laura. I would say that, first of all, it's not my first project of this kind. I started with this kind of project in Tehran when I had my Iranian citizen of Tehran who managed to sneak as well footage from there, and then from Lebanon, and now in Syria. And I think that what is common with these three guys is the fact that these guys does not really like the places that they're living with. The three of them told me that they could see during the years the change in the, as I said in the reports, of the DNA of the place that used to be just a normal place, and during the year became much more extremist. And if we're talking about the Syrian guy in particular, so I think that what we've seen during the last few years after the civil war, we've seen kind of ethnical cleansing in Syria. I'm talking about, almost 1 million casualties or dead people. We're talking about 8 million Syrians who left Syria, even though only 300,000 came back. So this guy does not really feel at home in his own city, in Damascus.
That's what we hear in your report. He says he just doesn't feel like this is his country anymore. And the scenes inside Damascus do now look like it's a completely Shiite, even an Iranian city. And Damascus, of course, hasn't always been like that, has it?
That's right. And so just to complete the last question, I think this is kind of revenge. This is the way this guy, as well as the Iranian guy or the Lebanese guy, these guys revenge the regime. Now, yes, I mean, what you just mentioned is totally right. I mean, Damascus was not like this before, 10 or 12 years ago, but what we see is the enormous influence of Iran in this country, in this city, even though I must say that during the last year, 2 years, we can see change. We can see that Bashar al-Assad these days is trying to take over the country again, to take over Damascus again. By the way, Bashar al-Assad is taking over only 60% of Syria that we knew until 12 or 13 years ago. So this guy, I mean, Bashar, today is trying to take, control over the city, over the country, of course. But my guy there in Syria, so he told me that you could see, of course, the footage, which is unbelievable. I mean, the old city of Damascus is Shia. I mean, the conflict between Shia and Sunni is very clear in his eyes whenever he cannot really recognize these places that until, as we said a decade ago, he couldn't see these guys. He couldn't see these Iranian or Shia from Lebanon, from Iraq, etc., etc. And I think that for me as an Israeli, for us here in Israel, I think that this is very important to understand that the Iranians are here, not literally on the border, but not far from the border. And, Qasem Soleimani or Khomeini, even Khomeini was talking about the spread of revolution. This is exactly what he meant, the spread of the Iranian revolution. We can see it in Iraq. We can see it, of course, in Syria, in South Lebanon with Hezbollah, in Yemen, etc., etc. So I think that in Syria, what we've brought, this rare, unique footage, is part of the spread of revolution of the Iranians.
And at the same time, we're seeing Assad being accepted back into the Arab world by Jordan, by the UAE, also by Saudi Arabia, potentially. Who is standing up for the Syrian Sunni people now?
So Assad is trying to come back. I mean, to be part again, of course, of the Middle East, and I think that the interest of all the countries that you just mentioned is to be part of this new Syria. Why? Because it's a lot of money. So we could see everybody there. We could see the Saudis, we could see the UAE, we could see, of course, the Qatarians. They all try to be part of the new Syria and from the new reality there in Syria. Even though that there's dramatic demographic change. You're just mentioning the Sunni world. So I can tell you that the Alawis, for instance, Bashar al-Assad is an Alawi. These guys used to be 11% of Syria in the beginning of the civil war in 2011. Today, we're talking about them are 25%. So something is really being changed there.
A permanent demographic change.